Hello, folks. This is Michelle Allman and
Alex Allman
with Clear Digital Media and our Trendz podcast. But today, this is going to be the crisis podcast. I'm sure unless you are living deep underground, you're well aware of what's going on in the world right now, which is really scary for a lot of people, and us included. We're a small family business, and I think right now the scariest thing is the uncertainty, the unknown. And unknown sets human nature into just a spiral because we just don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I think right now with all that's happening and what we're seeing every day is a change. Every minute is a change.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what's happening next. And it seems like it's getting worse before it starts getting better.
Yeah, 100%.
And everyone's trying to navigate through it and do the right thing, they think.
Yeah.
But, it's really intriguing. So we're facing a situation we've never seen before, ever.
Yeah.
It's not like anything we've ever been through. So it's not like we can go back and filter it through layers of experience to know, okay, this is what's next.
Yeah.
This is how we can navigate through this. We've been through a lot of tragedy, a lot of crisis in our country and in the world, but this is completely different than anything we've seen. And I even think, you look back at some of the other things we've navigated through, other pandemics, something's different about this.
Yeah.
Something's really different about this. We look at 9/11. It was one of the worst tragedies this country has seen, yet it was an event. It was over, and we recovered and we healed. This is different.
Well, and if you look at all the other viruses that have hit, like the widespread viruses like Ebola, H1N1, what are the other ones? Like SARS, MERS, all those things. None of the reactions were like this.
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's intense, it's fast, it's uncertain. And we also live in an age where true information and not so true information is at our fingertips at all times. We're inundated. We're overstimulated with it. So what we're not going to do today is predict what's coming. Or talk about why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to help anybody, because we're not experts and we don't know. We're trying every day to get through the next day just like everybody else is. What we do know is that this is scaring the shit out of a lot of small businesses, and some have already gone under.
Yep.
And that scares me because the trickle-down impact to the economy and to economics in general and to small business, which is a big foundation of this country's economy, is really terrifying. And the unintended consequences of even doing the right things is going to be traumatic, and it's going to be very difficult for us all to navigate through it. But I think if we do, and we work positively together, and I think this country is way stronger than we think. We get through it all. We have, and we will. So what we wanted to do today, and I came across a really, really awesome article the other day. It's called The Scary Times Success Manual. It's written by Dan Sullivan. So we'll include a link in the description for this podcast to it. But we're just going to talk through this, and hopefully this gives a little bit of peace, maybe some resources. I think really just staying in communication with the people around you and really looking to each other to support each other, do what you can, is going to be the best way through this. So what this article talks about, he really focuses on 10 things to think about in scary times. And this is one hell of a scary time. So what I want to do is really just go through each one and let's talk a little bit about it. Maybe there's some ideas that will come from it. So when things create anxiety, a lot of times, and we've talked about anxiety a lot with you, Alex, where when you have anxiety, a lot of times it's the tangibles, touching things, grounding yourself in things. there's something that I've studied a lot, and I'm intrigued by it. It's neuro-linguistic programming, which allows you to create triggers or anchor emotions, and there are physical things that you do that take you to a positive anchored emotion that move you through some of the most difficult things. And I think, reminding ourselves we have this within us. We have the power to do incredible, remarkable things. So this kind of speaks to 10 things that we can do from a mindset perspective, focus, thinking that will help move us through this together. So one of those is forget about yourself and focus on others. And what that means, oftentimes when you're facing your most difficult moments, whether it be a worldwide pandemic or it be a moment in your own life, one of the most powerful ways to move through that is to stop thinking about the problem and think about what can I do to give to somebody else. So collectively, when we stop thinking about what this is doing to us as individuals, like I'm out of toilet paper, or how am I going to stay, my business alive, or how am I going to pay my employees? Pause for a moment, because in a situation like this, what's interesting is we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. Everybody is facing the same crisis. Some, it's going to be worse than others
100%.
Based on the business they're in or what they do. But if we keep that in mind, now if we stop focusing on the problem for ourselves and say, how can I help others? That now you're creating your own solutions by focusing on somebody else. So for example, there are people who are going to be isolated and helpless. What can you do to help them? That's going to take the attention off of your own problems. You're going to be giving back. And then by that, you might actually solve your own issues. Does that make sense?
100%.
And I think that can make a huge difference. It transforms a negative into a positive. And when we move our emotions from focusing on what all is going wrong and start focusing on what we can do to make it right, it changes everything.
100%.
So I think that's one that's really, really important. And you become a source of confidence and stability and certainty for other people. And by doing that, you by default create it for yourself. So number one, forget about yourself, focus on others. Number two, forget about your commodity and focus on your relationships. So what this means is your commodity is what you sell or the job that you hold. And when you stop thinking about that and you think about a more strategic response, creating power and possibility in the relationships you have with your family and friends, again, it changes the mindset. Every time you strengthen a relationship, the viability of your community will increase. So, if you said that to yourself, every time I strengthen a relationship, the viability of my commodity and my community will increase. So you're adding value and you're not focused so much on the thing. So I think that's another really powerful idea. Number three is forget about the sale and focus on creating value. So I think that as a whole in business makes a lot of sense. We always talk about we don't sell products, we create value. And through the value, that's where we have the ability to sell a product, right? Because we're adding value to someone. So, regardless of what's going on in the world, people don't like being sold. They like to make a decision to bring value to their life, right? So the fact that let's go back to toilet paper for a second. The fact that toilet paper actually has brands, and that people there's a value prop and a brand, around toilet paper, which is fundamentally serves a certain purpose, right? It speaks to that. So, when things are uncertain and when they're scary, we tend to turn off, and when we turn off, no one wants to be sold. Not now. This is the last time.
It's like GoDaddy calling you 100 times.
It's really interesting. Like, why are you up in the cold calls on, GoDaddy? Please stop calling me. This isn't the time my mind is thinking about that. It's when we as businesses can think about what can we do to add value in times when things are scary for other people. And add value not only to your customers, but maybe the community as a whole. I think it circles back and it creates strength. And one of the things it says is when you focus on providing these three solutions, your sales will naturally follow. And that's eliminate danger, capture opportunity, and reinforce strengths. So eliminate danger, capture opportunity, and reinforce strengths.
Yeah.
Focusing on those things add value. So I think that, again, that's a huge one. Number 4, forget about your losses, focus on your opportunities. So this says things that you have had and may have taken for granted sometimes disappear. Like right now, would you ever have thought that frozen vegetables would be like gold?
And ramen noodles.
Right. Like who would have thought that in 24 hours?
Yeah, it was really fast.
The idea that we are scrambling in a grocery store for frozen broccoli.
Yep.
And ramen noodles and canned green beans. Like it flips everything.
Yeah, well, it's a domino effect with that.
100%. 100%. It's when you forget about what we've lost, convenience, when the ability in 24 hours, the ability to go visit a friend has changed.
Yep.
The ability to go to a restaurant has changed.
You have to think about every move you're making.
You seriously.
Yeah.
Like the fact that in some states you're not walking out on the street without permission.
Yep.
The fact that has changed so rapidly, it instantly changes how we see what we have.
Yeah.
I would say if anything comes out of this that is super positive, it's going to be gratitude.
Yeah, 100%.
Gratitude and humility.
I think that's already happening right now.
I hope so.
I mean, at least from what I've seen from like my friends or like social media people, influencers.
Yeah.
And, it could be an act, but I feel like for the most part, people are pretty genuine about that. It's, you take for granted simple things like going to the store and being able to find some food.
Well, what's interesting about that, and this is an area you can probably speak to a lot more, your generation and younger. So you guys have never known tragedy, really.
Not like this, no, not at all.
Not even close.
No.
Like if you look at the World War II generation.
Oh, yeah. We're so much weaker. Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually watched some podcasts like Logan Paul and stuff like that. And there was a girl that they had on the podcast who was talking about how she gets anxiety putting on the headphones. And I was looking at the comments, and I'm not going to diminish her feelings, but like I looked at the comments and it was funny because someone said, man, I look at my grandparents in the World War II Vietnam generation, and these people are afraid to put on headphones. Yeah.
Well, and this really does. Yeah. I think it's important and possibly offensive, but, whatever.
Yeah.
We're soft.
Oh, very.
We're so soft.
My generation
it's actually quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because the idea that we are inconvenienced, and I'm not going to lie that it's annoying.
Oh, it's certainly annoying.
But come on, this country doesn't know poverty in its true sense. We don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, well, and I think there's definitely different people in each generation, and like my generation does have very strong people in it, but the numbers are much smaller than, let's say, Nana's generation or the Vietnam generation, because they were forced to go through those things. They were forced to be put in those positions. There was no option. For us, it's like, no, I'm not doing that. And it's very easy to say that because there's no real need for us to step up and be strong, because there hasn't been. Right now is probably the closest thing to it, and let's hope this doesn't lead to any sort of like major tragedy. But like this is the first time that my generation has really ever seen actual hardship. And we can't even say yet that this is true hardship, because basically the only hardship we're facing at this point in time is the fear of family members getting sick and then going to the grocery store and not being able to find food.
Right.
Which, let's be honest, I went to the grocery store 2 days ago. Yeah, the shelves were pretty empty, but I found stuff.
Yeah.
Like there was still things there. I was still eating. It wasn't like I'm sitting out on the street with nothing. And I do feel for the people right now who are homeless or who are in shelters that don't have the ability to separate.
Yeah.
There's homeless shelters right now that are overrun because that's the closest thing to shelter they're going to get. And there's like 600 people in a building.
Right.
This illness right now, or this virus, I shouldn't say illness, virus, is going to affect them the most. Our weakest populations are going to be affected the most. The people like Kim Kardashian sitting at the top putting on Instagram, I'm sending my love and prayers. She's fine. She's got billions of dollars under her belt. She's going to be the first one treated, the first one tested. All of those people are totally chilling.
Well, you know what's interesting about this is you said this is targeting our weakest.
100%.
And it's also highlighting our greatest weaknesses.
100%.
Our greatest flaws. And we're human. The system is human.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, where the system is human. We are imperfect in every way.
Yeah.
And this situation is absolutely showcasing where those weaknesses sit. And as human beings, I'm not talking about like as a country or, any of that. It's as human beings. And, it's whatever's going on.
Yeah.
We know it's targeting our weakest. And some of the things that we see is as frustrating as it is that we're dealing with all of this, kind of what it feels like our freedoms are being taken away.
Yeah.
We're looking at, the behaviors around, I don't care.
Yep.
I'm doing what I'm going to do. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
Yep.
That is disappointing, I will say, because I'm questioning a lot. Like I'm looking at all of this, questioning a lot.
Yeah.
But to see that when we know that at this, what we know about it is it's targeting our weakest.
Well, and I think what's interesting that you say about that is there's a difference between I'm questioning what's going on here, but I'm still following these guidelines because I do care, versus I don't care at all. F this. Yeah. This is just the flu. Get over it. I'm doing what I want. Those are two different mindsets. I think for us, we're sitting in this category of what is up here. This is weird.
What's going on? It feels very strange.
I'm still going to listen because I respect the fact that there's people out there like Miss Biggs or Nana and Papa who have very vulnerable positions because of their health. And if they were to get it, it's almost a death sentence. And so there's a difference between I'm questioning what the major fear here is, but I'm still respecting it, versus F this, I'm doing what I want. You can't take my freedoms away.
Right.
And those are two totally different mindsets.
Yep. Very much so. We tangented there for a second, but I think it's an important conversation because, when we're facing something that's so different, so weird, and so scary because it's changing so rapidly.
Yeah, that's the part that's scary.
And so most people are trying to do the right thing. Yeah. And we just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So if you're a small business owner and you don't know, I don't know what's going to happen. And then there's resources, but knowing where to go, how to get to them.
The Austin food truck business. Those people are really scared here because as each day moves forward, there's less and less and less business. And without that certainty of income, a lot of them are running their business based off of their forecasting. Right. You can't forecast this. No, there's you can't. No possible way to forecast this. That's the thing.
There's no planning. There's no way to figure it out. And even if you were to say you have to plan for emergencies. There's planning for emergencies, and then this is a shit show. Oh, yeah. This is beyond emergency.
Yeah,
this is like today I had business, and I've been investing, and I've been planning, and I've had forecasting, and I've been smart about it. Yep. And then all of a sudden, in 24 hours, everything stops.
Yep,
it's over.
Well, and you don't know the next order that's going to be put in place. Like, for example, we just had the governor of Texas. He was giving cities the ability to decide on whether or not they were closing restaurants and stuff like that. And then he decided, I believe it was yesterday, if I'm correct, that the whole state was going to have to do it. So it was like yesterday, the cities were like, okay, maybe we'll be okay. Maybe, the restaurants were like, maybe we can still have people. And now it's like, okay, wait, that changed. Yeah. Now what's going to happen tomorrow?
Right.
Because right now they're letting pick up and carry out and all that, but who knows? They might shut that down too. Yep. And then all restaurants are like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Because there's nothing coming in.
Well, and this is about how, you've got to tap deep into the creatives, the creative mindset. Yeah. So when we talk about forget your losses, focus on your opportunities, using that as an example, some people never get over it, but trying to replay, some people will fall into the trap of trying to replay the old game. And when you're moving into this area of total uncertainty, there is no old game. Yep. The game pieces have been tossed. The board's been turned over and we're rewriting all the rules. Yep. And that, we haven't seen anything like this, So this talks about a better strategy is to start an entirely new game, use new ideas, new energies, new tools, and new resources. Yep. And that takes a moment, taking pause. Yeah. And the good news is that I think because everyone's sitting in the same boat, there's no option for the mortgage companies. They're going to have to allow for some wiggle room here. There is no other option because you can't call loans on every human being. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's just not possible.
So I think sometimes when we get ourselves really worked up, really scared, calm down.
Yeah.
Make phone calls. Yeah, you talk it through because there is no other option. We all have to work together. So I think that there's the positives in this again are, although we're seeing enormous challenges, we're digging into creativity. We're working together. We all have to. There is no other choice.
Yeah.
And so I think it lifts us all up to the, hey, we're in it together. We'll figure this out. Let's get through it.
The camaraderie.
How can we help each other? Right. Okay, so number 5. We're on number 5. Forget about your difficulties. Focus on your progress. So things obviously aren't as easy as they once were. It says new difficulties can either defeat you or reveal new strengths. Your body's muscles always get stronger from working against resistance. So when you think about that, again, it's like you're tapping into the creative thought. You're tapping into new ideas, resources. Things you might have been afraid to do before seem like nothing compared to waking up tomorrow and everything being gone, right? So it's interesting how when we put ourselves and we push against resistance, we get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yep. And you'll see changes made to some businesses where they're going to change forever because of this. The way they operate, certain ideas that they have about marketing and things. That's going to change completely.
And how you see things, so it is funny. And I'll relate it. It's almost trivial when you think about it, but to training for a marathon.
Yeah.
Every workout is designed to push you farther against what your body can handle.
Yeah.
And you go from not being able to run maybe a 5K to being able to run 26 miles because every piece of the resistance, your body's saying stop, you push beyond it. And then you realize, like, wait a minute, I made it 26 miles.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's like running from here to downtown Austin.
Yeah.
And you think that's crazy, but you did it.
Yeah.
So don't fear a little bit of the pain, push through it, and you get stronger at the end. So I think that's important to remember. Okay, number 6, forget about the future, focus on today. So the future is abstract, and when you're in a situation like this, you have no idea. So right now you have to kind of pull it back and don't put it out so far because we don't know. In
And
fact,
that's where your brain starts going crazy.
Right. You start telling yourself stories.
Which I do all the time.
Yeah. This is the interesting thing about the human mind and the human brain is that and I do it too. Like you start thinking about something and then you daydream, but your daydream goes into a story about what's about to happen. And you've created a scenario, your body responds to it, but it's not happening.
Well, it's funny because I do that in my everyday life, even without this type of stuff. Like my brain is instant, most negative thing it could possibly think of. And that's something that you have to train yourself to avoid doing.
Yep.
And in times like this, that's when you're pushed to the test when it comes to your brain going to the furthest possible thing.
Well, and that's why things are off the shelf.
Yeah.
That's why the supply chain has been disrupted.
Yes.
Because we've been telling ourselves a story of the future that we don't know yet.
Exactly.
So in times like this, it's important to move moment to moment. Don't allow yourself to go so far out there and into an unknown world and create a story that may not be.
Yeah.
It probably won't be because we don't know.
Yeah.
So just focusing on this moment and the next moment and the next moment. And then once okay, I mastered that one. I mastered that moment.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're good. So it's focusing what you can do over the next 24 hours. Stay just contained within that period of time and then move to the next one. And I think that absolutely relieves a lot of the pressure. Okay, number 7, forget about who you were, focus on who you can be. That's a good one. So many people define themselves by external circumstances. When these abruptly or unexpectedly change, they don't know who they are, so they keep trying to be who they used to be. From now on, take your cues from the inside, from your dreams, ideas, values, and operating principles. These need to never change, regardless of the circumstances. Take advantage of external confusion to become self-directed, self-managed, and self-motivated. So when we don't know, don't think about who you were. Yeah. Think about who you can be. Who do you want to be? Dig into the incredible toolbox that we have as human beings.
Yeah.
And we do. I mean, seriously, if you look at, it kind of speaks to the runner who broke the 2-hour marathon.
Yeah.
Now that he's done it, it's going to happen over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, so in situations like this, look to those, you know, as inspiration, those that have moved through and about, that are digging into the depths of the tools that they have to overcome, and you know that you can do it. If someone can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really important. Number 8, forget about events and focus on your responses. We can't control any of the stuff that's going on right now. In fact, we often, and this goes back to like the system is operated by human beings. Human beings are flawed.
Yep.
So even all of our leaders are flawed in one way or another. Mm-hmm. And we like to showcase all of those all the time. Like that's politics. But, you know, we can't control what's happening. Our leaders can't control what's happening.
Yeah.
We're all navigating through something that we don't know the best that we can. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's, don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on your response to what you can.
Yeah.
You know, so if, for example, we can't control the response the government's applying to contain, right? So we have that they're doing what they need to do to protect the population, right?
Yeah.
So we can't control that. Mm-hmm. What can we control is our response to that. And I got to tell myself this all the time, because I find myself like, you know, having my little moments of like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
When you control that response, then you can control your behavior and your outlook.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's nothing more important than that, is our ability to control our response to things.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, what else is this? Especially when we're feeling defeated or depressed. Says they think they've lost some fundamental ability. The most consistently successful people in the world know that they can't control events, but continually work towards greater control over their creative response to events. Anytime there is fear, uncertainty, or discomfort, it's an excellent time to focus your attention and energies on being creatively responsive to all the unpredictable events that lie ahead. So, you know, it's control yourself.
Yeah.
Control your response. All right, number 9, forget about what's missing, focus on what's available. So when things change for the worse, many desirable resources are inevitably missing, including information, knowledge, tools, systems, personnel, and capabilities. These deficiencies can paralyze many people who believe they can't make decisions and take action. A strategic response is to take advantage of every resource that is immediately available in order to achieve as many small results and make as much daily progress as possible. So I think, especially for small businesses, we are paralyzed in fear.
Yeah.
So if we stop for a second and it's really like do an inventory of what are the resources, and that includes each other.
Well, and what's interesting about this point is with, like, for example, when we're rescheduling the wedding, half of our vendors were like, we don't know if we'll be in business. That's a really major prediction this early. And I know that it's truly affecting people in food industry and like the food trucks a lot. Mm-hmm. But having them tell me like, we can't guarantee you anything because we don't even know if we'll be afloat. I'm like, whoa, we're already going there. And I know it's affecting them immediately. Like they're already being affected, but still to assume that you're just going to be out of business as a whole is scary.
Very much. And I think, you know, it's interesting because our response mechanisms, this is weird, and I actually wish it weren't the case, because oftentimes, like, I'm at my calmest when things are at its worst.
When things are crazy.
Yeah, it's very strange, and it is just my natural response.
Yeah.
So when real shit hits the fan, I'm like, got it.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, it's got it. Okay. And I go, my mind will immediately go into, all right, I'm doing an inventory of all the people I can call, all the things I can do, I have a checklist in my head.
Survival mode.
Like, what are the things? What do I need to do? And it comes very natural. It's probably being married to a firefighter who in normal stuff,
I was gonna
like
say.
your normal, like, you know, he spilled milk, has a heart attack.
Yeah, Dad goes immediate
freaks out.
negativity until it's like someone's
someone's
out.
head's cut off. Like,
exactly.
He's like, got it, man. He
so weird.
This is, and I think it's a natural, which on a side note is a whole nother thing I want to start to do. talking about like being in a first responder family.
Yeah.
Because there's often like a interesting calmness when it's a career. It's a lifestyle. It's not a career. You know, it's not a job. It's a lifestyle. It's
when I even noticed that about myself, like I'm one of the most anxious people ever who is immediate negativity around basically everything. But like if I get in a car accident, which I did in Arizona, it was instant calm. I know exactly what to do. Chase freaked out more than I did because he was on the phone with me and heard the car.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, where are you? Oh my God, what's going on? I'm like, breathe. I'm fine. We're good. Don't worry about it. He's like, what? Like, how are you this relaxed? But normal day to day, instant negativity, instant the world is ending.
Yep.
So weird.
So in times like this, if that's your natural go-to, if like there's major, you go into panic when things are really tough.
Yeah.
Breathe. You know, do a quick. We all have resources.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes we don't tap into them. If it's a neighbor, if it's family, if it's do an assessment of, I have all this.
Yeah.
All of this support. I need to focus on what I have.
Yeah.
I need to focus on assessing, how I can bring it together, who I can reach out to help me navigate through this. Mm-hmm. Because guaranteed, everyone has somebody.
Well, and this would be the time to put the pride to the side.
Yeah. Ooh, I like it.
This is because I think a lot of people also
put the pride to the side,
especially when you're a business owner, and I'm sure you feel this too. You put everything on your shoulders, and that's normal for you.
Yeah.
So when it comes to times where you need the assistance, I feel like a lot of people in that position are like, I'm not asking because I need to handle this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do need to handle it as a CEO, but doesn't mean you have to handle it alone. And it doesn't mean that you're weak for asking. And I'm sure right now most people don't feel weak for asking because you have to,
right? Since
things are so crazy. But in a normal day-to-day, putting your pride to the side can help you a lot in situations where panic is ensued and you're like, what do I do?
I agree with you 100%. And that builds confidence. When you just have that, there's a conversation you can have. Mm-hmm. That builds confidence, and confidence builds certainty, and certainty, creates calm.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Okay, last one, number 10. Forget about your complaints. Focus on your gratitude. Oh, this is so good. Best for last. Like, again, we live in a world where we have everything at our fingertips.
Yep.
Even now, we have all this uncertainty. Yet right now, I could come up with some kind of business. I could get real creative. I could do it right here.
Well, and for example, like the YouTube social media industry is booming right now. People working from home or sitting at home doing nothing right now are watching YouTube, are consuming online content, buying from online stores. It's crazy because if this would have happened pre-internet, detrimental to the fullest. Yeah. Right now, it is detrimental to a lot of brick and mortar, but if you have a backup online store, if you are running your business on social media, you still have the ability to reach everyone. Mm-hmm. Well, basically everyone who uses a cell phone, which is practically the whole world. Yep. So it's like you have major business things at your fingertips. Like you can start something right now.
Yep.
And it can really start up because especially with online podcasts, YouTube, all that, you might have 0 followers right now, but think about if we're stuck inside for the next month because we have no idea what's going to happen. We need content to consume.
Yep. This is the time when you can look at what are the things I can do different. Mm-hmm. So if you wake up every morning and you are simply grateful for what's in front of you, you're grateful that you aren't sick. Mm-hmm. You're grateful that there's somebody you can help. Yeah. You're grateful that there's books for you to read. Mm-hmm. You're grateful that you're surrounded by people that love you. That we have a community of people. People are in essence good. Most people are good. So if you're a salon, can you possibly, if you're still able to, can you go do home visits? Yeah. You're not collecting in a big group, but can you go in and cut somebody's hair at home? Can you do online sales of the products that you have in your salon?
Or even education, like go on your Instagram and talk about, guys, even though times are tough, let's not ruin our hair here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like
create content.
Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of hairstylists doing that, where they're like joking around like, yes, times are tough, but please don't box dye your hair.
Right.
Like this is the perfect time for them to get on and start a social media presence to educate, get clients interested in them, because then when things are fixed, you have an entire base of people that might be interested in coming to you now.
And apply some humor. Yeah. I think too we have to be a little forgiving of some of senses of humor, because sometimes that's what's necessary. Yeah. And again, with Dad and being a first responder, they joke about some pretty gruesome stuff because they have to.
Yeah.
So having a sense of humor, relax, allowing for a little of that, I think eases some of the tension.
Yeah.
This reminds me a lot of The Grinch.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the name of those characters? When the Grinch stole Christmas and they all came out and sang and held hands, and
the Whoville people.
The Whoville people, and they still had Christmas.
Yeah.
This is very similar in that, a little bit of gratitude can go an awful long way. So there are a lot of things that are tough. There are a lot of decisions that people are going to have to make. If we really kind of just pause, you think about it, it's almost like if we looked at this like, okay, it's almost like we're turning off the lights and just they'll flip back on.
Yeah.
But if we all turn off the lights and we're just like, all right, let's take a moment. Okay, we got through that. Let's flip that light back on. If we just all sort of and we just held it. All right, we're okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back on. It may be different.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be okay. And help a neighbor out. If you know somebody that's struggling and you have something and they need it, give it to them.
Yeah.
If there's something you can do to help somebody, do it. So I think that this stuff like this, definitely something we've never seen. Definitely putting us in a place, and I'll admit, like I'm having weird dreams, and you're wondering what's going on.
Yeah,
we're all in the same boat. That's the one good thing.
Well, and, I have to say this just because it was on the tip of my mind. It has nothing to do really with small businesses or anything like that. It's about positivity. Jess, my friend who lives in San Diego, one of her neighbors, as a kind gesture, bought everybody toilet paper rolls and put a bow on them and stuck it outside all of their doors. And I thought it was hilarious. And it also, she was like posting on Snapchat about how it's the only thing that made her smile that day. Yeah. And it was so simple. All he did was broke up a couple toilet paper packs, put it in front of his neighbor's doors and said like, let's all help each other.
Yeah.
And it was cool. I just thought I had to add that in there.
Well, I think it's doing stuff like that that, give people like, it's okay.
Yeah. And it gives you hope.
It's all right. Yeah. It's okay. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
So that is our 10 tips from the Scary Times Success Manual. And hopefully this gives a little insight, provides a little peace. And we'll definitely link the article on some others as well that can be helpful. And with that, we will get through it. It's going to be okay.
Stay positive for sure.
Stay positive, folks. Stay positive. All right, with that, we will be talking to you guys soon and look for future podcasts. And thanks so much for listening, watching, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Peace out.
Bye.